تفضل. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
FA from London, UK. Assalamu alaikum. When major news channels give news about young men and women being locked up for life for quote-unquote being extremists and jihadists, how are we to understand this?
Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I don't see any difference between you understanding it and you understanding it not. If someone is incarcerated and if someone is given life sentence for whatever the reason is, being a fundamentalist or jihadist or terrorist or whatever the case may be, your understanding isn't critical. It makes no difference. Unless that's your family member, your friend, or just someone that you wish to advocate for or speak out against or for. Besides that, it's going to be what it's going to be, unfortunately. Your understanding doesn't change what? Anything in the world. What I feel, how I feel, it doesn't matter. What is clearly unethical, what is clearly illegitimate, what is clearly illegal in the laws of the non-Muslims, there are many countries, governments, people who still do it. Unless you yourself have the ability to have a difference or an impact, then that's a different story. What's important is for us to understand from the fundamentals of our religion is being put through trials and tribulations. Being put through trials and tribulations. This is from the usul of the deen. From the very first days in Mecca, the Muslims experienced persecution. Allah tells us, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ. Allah says they only tested them. And they only took revenge against them. They only harmed them because they were believers. Allah tells us, Ashab al-Ukhdud. They had pits of fire in which to burn the believers alive because they were believers. Allah tells us about Ashab al-Kahf, the young men of the cave. The Prophet's seerah are full of these things in which the non-Muslims persecuted Muslims for one reason or another. So persecution, unfortunately, is the sunnah to Allah. It's the sunnah of Allah. It's going to happen. It's going to take place. Many times Muslims are persecuted without any reason whatsoever. And there are other times which there is a reason. Whether it's 100%, 30%, 40%, but there's some play that the Muslim does to involve himself in those problems. And I'm not talking about one thing. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. So this is unfortunate. Make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to free the Muslims who need to be freed, and to protect those who have no right being incarcerated, have no right being put through torture, have no right being harassed and bothered and annoyed. Make dua for them. You make sure that you remain firm, and the truth always will remain the truth. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Even if the criminals hate it. Whether it's jihad, Islam, hijab, wala wal bara, whatever it is from the deen, if it's from the kitab and sunnah, and it's the correct understanding and practice of the kitab and the sunnah, then it matters not who likes it and who dislikes it. Of the kuffar, of the munafiqeen, it matters not. Whether they're incarcerated, persecuted or not. The truth does not change to falsehood, ever. And the truth does not compromise to falsehood, ever. And they can kill the Muslims, persecute the Muslims, but they can never ever change the truth. Allah said about the munafiqeen, they wish to change the speech of Allah, what Allah has decreed and ordained and said. Abadan. Allah's speech will never be changed. And Allah knows best.
OM from Famagusta, TRNC, Northern Cyprus. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. Can neglecting to study to understand Arabic, but being able to read it, be considered a sin?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The question is coming from Cyprus. Can neglecting studying Arabic with the purpose of understanding it be considered to be a sin, even though you can read it? If you're a normal 9 to 5 Muslim, upon which there is no great responsibility, then it's not necessarily a sin. Because a person only gets a sin for something which is mandatory, something that is obligatory, and they abandon that act. They abandon an obligatory or mandatory practice. If it is a virtue, a recommended act upon you, there's no sin. As far as if you're someone who's to lead, to guide, to teach, people come to you for information, and you have the ability and the skill and the talent, or the talent and the skill, and you refuse to get it and do that which is necessary, then it could be a sin upon you. It's like a police officer or a security guard, and he fails to go to the gym, he fails to work out, he fails to go to the shooting range, he fails to stay in a mental a state of sharpness. It's his job to protect, to serve, and he becomes rusty, and he neglects his body and his mind, he neglects his marksmanship, and then something happens, someone loses their life, someone gets oppressed or wronged, it's his fault, because it is his job to remain sharp. So you being an imam, a student of knowledge, a scholar, a teacher, a learner, or someone who's giving ilm, you have to be always in a constant state of practice and review and revision, and let alone further advancing your studies. Let alone further advancing your studies. Listen carefully. Further advancing your studies, going further, but you always have to make review of that which you had previously studied and previously learned. What's important is you living in the lands of Cyprus, what knowledge is there? Who is there? Is it enough knowledge there? Is sufficient amount of correct knowledge there? It may be upon you to take it to the next level. It may be upon you to study more, even though you may not be the one, or it may be fard ayn upon you in the beginning. So what's important is you have to look at your situation. You have to look at your situation. A brother contacted me from Poland, and he says that he wants to study, he wants to learn. And in Poland, there are many Muslims who have improper knowledge, misunderstandings of Islam, innovations, incorrect practices of the deen. But my parents don't want to let me study. They don't want to let me travel. They say you don't have to travel. You're going to be in trouble. You're going to be stopped by the authorities, and so on and so on and so forth. So I told the brother, I said it may be mandatory upon you to seek knowledge right now. Because where will Poland be in 20 years, and 30 years, and 40 years? And I asked him, well, you think Sheikh Albani never got locked up before? You don't think Ibn Taymiyyah was put through harassment and troubled and bothered, and people that went against him, but look at his legacy, what? To this day. So that's how we have to look forward, guys. We have to look what? Forward. And never remain frozen. Our brains cannot become frozen, huh? We have to move forward. Don't think about just today or tomorrow. 10, 20, 30, 40 years, huh? And anyone who's trying to bring a narrow-minded way of thinking, we have to shun them. You're not welcome here with this narrow-minded way of thinking. It may sound good today, but 10, 20, 30 years, where will America be? Huh? And Allah knows best.
Salman Q from Brooklyn, New York. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Should we boycott Coke? Barakallahu feek.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Answer is yes and no. Huh? What's important is, if you're talking about CocaCola, hopefully, which is an interesting fact because it used to have cocaine in it. That's why it's called that. Okay? And they used to sell Coca-Cola in drugstores. It wasn't just a refreshing sports drink or soft drink all the time. It was actually sold inside of a pharmacy. Huh? Play it. What's important is Coca-Cola, whether it has cocaine in it or not, it's like many other products and many other services, many other movies and music and sports and all types of things of the modern world today that may lead a Muslim to boycott them. One may say they're owned by the Jews. One may say the money goes to Israel, Palestine. One may say they're Satanists, they're devil worshippers, or it has pork in it, or it has this in it, so on and so forth. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Some of these things may be true. They may be true, some of them. And some of these things may be practical and useful. Just because something is Jewish owned or Zionist owned doesn't mean it's haram for us to buy and to sell and to do dealings with them, regardless of what's going on, because of the way the world is today. Okay? But at the end of the day, if you boycott Coca-Cola for one reason or another, you also have to boycott Starbucks. And you may have to boycott Adidas. And you may have to boycott Timex or this company and that company, and so this goes on. Would you be shocked? Do you think that if a person says, I want to boycott Starbucks because they're owned by Zionists in Israel or Palestine, okay? I'm not going to buy their coffee. Tell you, who do you think owns Dunkin' Donuts? Just because it doesn't have the Star of David on it doesn't mean that it isn't owned by Zionists. Just because they don't say we are Jewish Zionist supporters against the blockade in Gaza doesn't mean that it's not what? Owned by them. And the money goes to them. So be mindful of this. Be what? Be mindful of this. So my advice is to have a balanced approach. And don't be like those who say, oh, don't worry about those things. It's not going to help you. You just focus on your salah, you pray, you give zakat, and that's it. They want you to be stupid. They want you to be stupid. Unless it's something pertaining to their agenda. Then the layman person has to know about it. The layman person has to involve himself in it. What does the 9 to 5 Muslim? I drive a bus. Why do I have to know that this person is a deviant? And to claim that he's a deviant and he's an innovator. And anyone who supports him, who gives him salams, who sits in class, is also a deviant. I'm a bus driver. But they say world issues, political issues, don't involve yourself with those things. It's not unbefitting for you to talk about those things, for you to even understand about those things. Have no political awareness. But you must have full awareness of this issue between this sheikh and this person. That's hypocritical. That's what? It's hypocritical. And then the other zealots, they say, don't involve yourselves with bid'ah. Don't involve yourselves with sunnah, hadith sahih, Bukhari, or the da'if hadith in Bukhari. Don't involve yourselves. It's confusing. But you must be on the front line of political activism and advocacy. You must be on the front line of this country and this government. How much money does Saudi Arabia owe America? You have to know all of these facts. But don't involve yourselves with the Islamic issues. That's also what? That's hypocritical. That's hypocritical. So it has to be a balanced approach. As a layman Muslim, your main focus is on your family. Your main focus is on the 5 daily prayers, zakat, hajj, fasting. Your main focus is on lowering your gaze, your community, your household, yes. But it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be a blind sheeple that hears no evil, sees no evil, has no awareness. You have to have a basic level of awareness of what's going on around you, of the world. Everybody clear on this? So there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. And Allah knows best. Hopefully that makes sense.
In the front right.
Next question.
MCU from Birmingham, UK. Is it allowed for masjids to do extra qiyam in the last 10 nights of Ramadan?
Question says, is it allowed for masjids to do extra qiyam in the last 10 nights of Ramadan? As we have stated before, the word or the term qiyam al-layl is a general term. A general term. Anything that you do in which you're staying up at night. Reading the Quran is qiyam al-layl. Making dua at night is qiyam al-layl. Having a halaqah when you're staying up at night is qiyam al-layl. Actual physical prayer at night is qiyam al-layl. And also a tahajjud, the prayer in which you make after you sleep and you wait until the wee hours of the night. That's also from qiyam al-layl. So one is general and one is specific. And then we have a tarawih, the extra prayers that are made after Salat al-Isha, before Salat al-Fajr. That's also from Qiyam al-Layl. So sometimes it's the same, and sometimes it is a difference. How many rak'at did the Prophet ﷺ make in one night? In the first 20 nights and the last 10 nights. How many rak'at did he make with the companions? Do we have hadith that even state that? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he never even prayed the salah in the masjid with the companions. How do people make it today? Not saying that it's haram, nor saying that it's a bid'ah, but we don't have that factual data. He prayed a few nights with the Sahaba. That was it. Other times, Aisha, his other wives, the companions, they narrated how much he prayed at nighttime in his home. After the Prophet ﷺ had passed away, the companions, they revived that sunnah. Ubay ibn Ka'b and Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And they continue to do it up to this day. They continue to do it up to this day. What's important is there's a great amount of confusion among people with regards to these 3 terms. Qiyam, Tarawih, Tahajjud. Who said that these 3 things are different? Who said that they're different terms? Who said they're not synonymous? Or like Russian dolls. One doll is bigger than another and bigger than another, and it gets smaller and smaller. But it all is swallowed up by one big what? Doll. Night prayer. Before you sleep, after you sleep. in Ramadan, outside of Ramadan. The general common term is that it's synonymous. Taraweeh, tahajjud, qiyam layl. Kullu wahid. So is it permissible to make extra rak'at other than what the Prophet ﷺ did? How many rak'at did he make? 20, 12, 40? That's a discussion in itself. That's a what? A discussion in itself. So what's important is go back to the workshop that we did last year, in which we discussed how to make qiyam al-layl, how to make witr, and what to do with some type of detail. Bidnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's in brief. We can't explain this with the time that we have right now in more detail than that. Wallahu alam.
Assalamu alaikum. SR from Brooklyn, New York. Should one tell people that they are going to Hajj?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You should be happy that you want to make Hajj. Maybe you telling someone that you're going to make Hajj will inspire them to make Hajj, or inspire them to get themselves together to get out of debt, or whatever they're going through that prevents them from making a Hajj. As far as if you're afraid that people will put the ayn on you, or prevent you from going, or gossip about you, then that's never ever going to stop. Be balanced. And this is something that many people, they become extreme in with regards to the ayn and hasad and jealousy. Be balanced. Is the ayn true? No question about that. We know this from the deen, from the sunnah, let alone on a daily life what? Experience. That's nice. It falls apart. Literally. Oh man. The eyes have to what? That's major. What the other billah? Or it's so cute. Next thing you know, your child is sick, or this and that. This is reality. The ayn is true. From the deen, from everyday practice, and also from history. Every culture, there is some type of nazar. Read about it. The evil eye. From the east to the west. Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, they all have some type of general concept of the what? The malicious eye. It's a reality. However, that doesn't mean that we believe that this eye has the power and the ability to do things that only Allah has the power and the ability to do. And after the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just because someone sees you, you're going to get sick. Just because you tell someone, they're going to put hasad on you. Just because someone is jealous and envious, they can do harm to you. No. They can't harm you unless Allah wills subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more fearful you become and afraid and insecure of the ayn of hasad and people of sihr, the more powerful they become over you. The more powerful they become over you. So therefore, if you tell someone that you're making Hajj, alhamdulillah, they could be happy or they could be upset. They can't change the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They can't do anything against you unless Allah wills. So that's the general rule, is to be balanced, to be moderate, and the Muslim should always be relatively discreet. You don't have to be secretive or hiding everything, but relatively discreet. The people in your inner circle, the brothers that you communicate with, the people that you talk with, the best. That doesn't mean you have to broadcast to everyone in the street. Be balanced. That's my advice. Wallahu a'lam. Abdul Wadud.
Yes, the hadith that mentions the devils being chained down in the Ramadan. Whenever I make salah, I find myself getting distracted with thoughts that I know is the furthest thing from them. I ain't even thinking about this shit. How do you link that with?
Question says, regarding the hadith about the devils being chained down in the month of Ramadan. And when I make the salah, I get distracted and I think about things that would never ever cross my mind before that, so on and so forth. How do we link the two? First and foremost, just because the devils are chained down in the month of Ramadan, it doesn't mean that they can't do any type of harm or annoyance. It does not necessitate that they don't have the ability to do something. Some of the ulama of Islam, they explain this. Let's make a tangible example of this. Let's say you're at war and you capture a prisoner, your enemy, and you tie him up. So you tie him up, chain him to the gate or to the pillar or to the radiator, however you, to a chair, whatever you do, you tie him up, right? So he's sitting in a room. Can he reach his weapon and shoot you? His hands and his arms, however you say you hog tie him, or he ties his arms behind his back, however you tie him, he can't necessarily reach his gun, his rifle to shoot you, to do major damage. But can he kick you? If he's trained to attack you in that type of position, can he spit on you? Can he headbutt you? Can he curse at you, slander you? Can he make fun of you? Can he spread lies? Your army's this, that, there's such and such, and cause you to have doubt about your cause? Can he not do this? So that's how the shayateen are. Just because they're chained down doesn't mean that they can't, spit venom on you. Let alone all of them are not chained down. Just some of them. Those that are extremely evil. Let alone the fact that you whispering to yourself in the salah, or thinking about food or work or fulana, this one or that one, whatever you think about in the salah. It doesn't mean that it's from shaitan. It could be from you. Your subconscious. Your soul. Your lack of mental concentration. There are many other factors which get people to do wrong things. They're different factors. It's not all shaitan or the shayateen. A big part, but not what? Not all. So it's understanding, as we always say, Omar, the proper what? Fiqh of the hadiths. The proper understanding of the what? Of the hadiths. You have to have the proper understanding of the text. And Allah knows best.
Shifa E. from Munich, Germany. What makes one a hadith disciple?
Question is coming from Munich, Germany. What makes a person a hadith disciple? We wrote about this in brief in the back of Mufti Q&A, Volume 1. The definition and the breakdown of a hadith disciple. Also, we've done many videos on it on the channel. To keep things in brief, you can be a hadith disciple and never watch or listen to any of my classes or lectures. You can be a hadith disciple and have no knowledge of me or hadith disciple on YouTube. Being a hadith disciple is being true to yourself, true to Allah, bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, true to the people with regards to your deen. Learning from the correct sources, practicing those correct sources, and propagating those correct sources. That's what hadith disciple is, in general. As far as someone who benefits from our classes, our lessons, our humble works that we do, then bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, being a hadith disciple means that you have to be a visionary. And you have to be a revolutionary. You have to be someone who's different. You have to be someone who's willing to break off the shackles of old. But never forget the antiquity. And move forward to the future. The modern current age. To blend the two. East and the west. Old and new. Soft and hard. I gripped my fist when I said soft. And I let it go when I said what? Hard. Pay attention. There's the opposite meaning the same. It's all being a hadith disciple. The concept of hadith disciple movement. The way we think. The way we teach. The way we speak about issues. Bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. On different levels of this. There's some people who are physical disciples. Some people are disciples online. Some people help out. They come with their physical bodies. Some people support it with their money. Some people support it with good words. Many different levels, many different aspects. What's important is it's not about me. I myself am a disciple. I'm learning. I'm studying. Everybody clear on this? So this is a brief, basic breakdown of what it means to be a hadith disciple. As someone who loves the sunnah, who wishes to learn it, who wishes to understand it properly, and wishes to practice it to the best of his ability. Wa alaikum assalam. So that's in brief. And Allah knows best.
AC from London, UK. Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. May Allah increase your beneficial knowledge. I wanted to ask about student loans in the UK. I have heard that scholars differ as to it being a riba loan, due to conditions stating that you only start paying it off when you start attaining a specific income, and that the loan is wiped once you reach a certain age, or if you are unable to work.
Tayyib. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The question comes from the United Kingdom regarding student loans. Do scholars differ on student loans? Are they riba or not? Etc. Before we even get into the ruling, is it riba or not? The concept of just constantly being in debt. Always being in debt. Going to school and being in debt for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Getting married, buying a house, having kids. Being in debt for your whole life with a great amount of debt. That's problematic in general. Do you have to go to college to get a good job? Do you have to go to this big, prestigious university to get a good means of occupation? Are there other vocational skills, practical skills, things that you can learn, and which you don't have to go to this expensive college and go through all of this debt? I think, and I humbly feel, that many of us as Muslims, we need to rewire our brains and rethink and reevaluate our lifestyles. Just because you go to this college for 4 years or 2 years and you pay all of this money means nothing. You may come home from college and you have no job and you have debt and you're depressed and you're miserable. You can't get married. You can't do this. And you may go to a 6-month program or a year program, get certified, and immediately become employed immediately. So we have to think about it. If everyone is not meant to be white collar, everyone is not meant to be blue collar. Why do all of the Muslims have to go to college? All of them. Why? Where did this come from? So that's the first point. Secondly is, with regards to riba in America or the UK in the modern world today, are there details concerning certain acts? Yes. Are there certain things that people consider riba not riba? Yes. There are misunderstandings. And there are things which are clear. It's riba. It's unlawful. It's a major sin. Also, the difference between a necessity and something which isn't a necessity. Necessity and something which isn't a what? A necessity. Giving riba, taking riba, these are all detailed issues. We don't have the ability to answer them right now. But these are details with regards to the modern financial dealings. What's important is, if you have to go to college and you feel that it's a necessary part of your life, then figure out the best way to go. Every college isn't good, isn't beneficial. Sometimes you pay money just for the name of the college and there's no guarantee that you will be employed. There's no guarantee that you'll have a happy lifestyle. That's in brief. خير إن شاء الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.